Hey, friends. Welcome to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I'm your host, Heather. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009. My show is 15 years old this year. It's almost old enough to drive. Anyway, this background of mine right here is Agecroft Hall. And Agecroft Hall is an actual Tudor home that was brought to Richmond, Virginia, piece by piece by a wealthy tobacco farmer, like during that period in the Gilded Age when everybody wanted to have like a European manor. He actually got a legit European manor. So Agecroft Hall had originally been in Lancashire, and now it is in Richmond, Virginia. The reason why that is my background today is because tickets for TudorCon 2024 are officially starting, and it's going to be at Agecroft Hall, September 20th to 22nd, 2024. So you can go to englandcast.com/TudorCon to get all the information. But I just wanted to show you how beautiful Agecroft Hall is. It's got gorgeous gardens. It's going to be a lovely time. September 20th to 22nd, Richmond, Virginia. See you there. englandcast.com/TudorCon to learn more. So today we're going to do something super fun. We're going to do the English Reformation in 10 minutes because I thought, why not challenge myself? I've actually done many episodes on the English Reformation, including during 2017 when it was the 500th anniversary of the 95 Theses. I did a whole Reformation Month series, which I will link to, I guess, at some point. But I thought I would just do something fun today and try and do like a little challenge. Like, can you do the whole English Reformation in 10 minutes? So here we go. So let us begin our journey to one of the most tumultuous and transformative periods in English history, the English Reformation. Spanned the 16th century, even you could say into the 17th century with the Civil War, but we're not going to get into that because that'll take longer than 10 minutes. Reshaped the religious landscape of England, also had far-reaching impacts on the political and cultural fabric. From Henry VIII to the Elizabethan settlement, the English Reformation was a time of intense turmoil and dramatic change, setting the stage for the modern UK. I think about it, if you were somebody who was born in, say, 1530, 1525, and you grew up just thinking that there was one religion, right? And then suddenly, by 1533, 1534, there's another religion. Okay. And then it kind of Henry waffles back and forth a little bit. And then there's another religion under Edward. And then there's another religion under Mary. And then there's another religion under Elizabeth. And each time, if you're not practicing that religion, which with their capital T truth, you're told you're going to go to hell and you're going to be imprisoned for heresy. It would make a person's head go bonkers, I think. Maybe it did. But anyway, so by the time if they were born in 1525, by the time they were 50 years old, then the Elizabethan settlement had happened. They'd lived through like 6 changes in religion? It's bonkers. Anyway, let us get started. Today we're going to do the English Reformation in 10 minutes. I probably just wasted like 3 minutes there talking about that. I do that, you guys. I get pulled. Anyway, before the winds of the Reformation swept across England, the country was deeply entrenched in Catholicism, with the Pope in Rome exerting Heather can talk. With the Pope in Rome exerting significant religious authority. The political scene was dominated by the Tudor dynasty, of course, under which England had seen notable stability and prosperity after the Wars of the Roses. However, beneath this calm surface, there were undercurrents of discontent and religious debate, signaling the beginning of seismic changes. Central to the story of the Reformation in England was Henry VIII and his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. Their marriage, initially a union of political convenience and alliance, later became the flashpoint of religious revolution. Henry's desperate need for a male heir and the Vatican's refusal to annul his marriage set the stage for the break with the Catholic Church, igniting a series of events that would redefine England's religious and political identity. The heart of the English Reformation can be traced back to what was known as Henry VIII's Great Matter. The king's desperation for a male heir to secure the Tudor dynasty led him to a monumental clash with the Catholic Church. Despite having a daughter, Mary, Henry was fixated on having a son. He blamed his lack of a male heir on his marriage to Catherine, believing it to be cursed due to Catherine being his brother Arthur's widow. Thus, Henry sought an annulment, a request that thrust him into direct confrontation with the Pope. The Pope was, of course, at that point, under political pressure from Catherine's nephew, Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor, and refused the annulment. Now, I will say traditionally the Catholic Church would not have given an annulment, probably. You could make an argument, and I did an episode on whether or not there was a precedent for a divorce. And in France, a generation before, the French king had put his wife in a nunnery and married someone else. And the Catholic Church had granted an annulment in that case. So it had been done. Was a precedent for it. Henry wasn't absolutely bonkers for thinking that maybe they would do this. But of course, Charles V had exerted all of this pressure on the Pope. Charles V was the nephew of Catherine of Aragon. Wasn't going to happen for Henry. So this opened a rift that would eventually lead to England's dramatic break from the Roman Catholic Church. This conflict wasn't just about marriage, it was a battle over authority and power that would have lasting effects on English religion and governance. The standoff over the annulment culminated in a decisive and radical step, the break with Rome. In 1534, Henry orchestrated the passing of the Acts of Supremacy, which declared the king, not the pope, to be the supreme head of the Church of England. This monumental act marked the official establishment of the Church of England, a move that effectively severed England's ties with the Catholic Church. The implications were profound and far reaching. Spiritually, it signified a major shift in religious authority and doctrine. Politically, it asserted the monarchy's dominance over religious affairs, enhancing the king's power. The Church of England, though initially similar in many practices to Catholicism, gradually adopted a more Protestant character. The Acts of Supremacy not only changed the religious landscape of England, but set a precedent for the relationship between the church and state, influencing the future course of English history and the development of Anglicanism. Thomas Cromwell was Henry VIII's chief minister and played a pivotal role in England's religious transformation. Under his guidance, one of the most significant changes was the dissolution of the monasteries between 1536 and 1541. This radical move involved the closure and demolition of monasteries, priories, and convents, and this was across England, Wales, and Ireland. Cromwell orchestrated the confiscation of their lands and wealth, which significantly increased the crown's revenue and diminished the Catholic Church's power and influence in England. Alongside this, Cromwell influenced substantial changes in religious practices and doctrine. He championed for the publication of the English Bible, making it accessible to common people, and he promoted reforms that leaned toward Protestantism, such as reducing the power of the clergy and altering the liturgy. These changes marked a decisive shift from traditional Catholic practices, laying the foundation for a distinctly English form of Protestantism. After Cromwell's execution, England did go back to being slightly more conservative as Cromwell's enemies began to take more control and exert more authority. But then Henry VIII died. The religious landscape continued to fluctuate under Henry's successors. Edward VI was Henry's only male heir, ascended to the throne at the age of 9. His short reign was marked by a significant push towards Protestantism under the influence of his regents. The Church of England underwent further reforms. The Mass was abolished, clerical marriage was permitted, Book of Common Prayer was introduced, all endorsing Protestant doctrines. However, then we have Edward's death and the ascension of Mary I, his half-sister, who was the daughter of Catherine of Aragon. Do you think she's going to be Protestant? No. This led to a sharp reversal. Mary was a devout Catholic. She endeavored to restore Catholicism in England. She repealed Edward's religious laws and she reestablished papal supremacy. Her reign is infamously remembered for the persecution and execution of Protestants, earning her the nickname Bloody Mary, which I don't think is completely fair, but there you go. Despite her efforts, Mary's reign did not successfully reestablish Catholicism in England, and her death in 1558 paved the way for Elizabeth I, who would once again steer England back to Protestantism with a great compromise that made absolutely nobody happy. Elizabeth inherited the kingdom deeply divided by religious conflict. Her response was the Elizabethan Religious Settlement, a series of laws enacted in 1559. Her approach was one of moderation and compromise. She reestablished the Church of England and its independence from Rome, yet incorporated elements that were acceptable to both Protestants and moderate Catholics. The settlement included the Act of Uniformity, which set the form of worship and reinstated the Book of Common Prayer with some revisions. She declared herself the supreme governor of the Church of England, not supreme head, a subtle change, but one that indicated a more inclusive stance. This settlement was crucial in defining the religious path of England, creating a unique form of Protestantism and ensuring relative religious peace during her reign. The Catholics that she persecuted probably wouldn't have agreed with that, but that's how history remembers it. And then after Elizabeth's death, of course, we have James I, who was very staunchly Protestant, coming down from Scotland. And this is why I say it could go all the way to the English Civil War, because then, of course, there were concerns about Charles I, his Catholicism, and there was the English Civil War. And then even you get to the Glorious Revolution, and that was concerns over Catholicism, right? So it continued to be an issue. But after Elizabeth, things did kind of calm down quite a bit. So the English Reformation was a turning point that reshaped England's identity. The Reformation redefined the relationship between the church and the state, and it laid the groundwork for religious tolerance and influenced the political and social fabric of the nation. So there you go. So I need to check the time. I don't know if we actually did that in 10 minutes or not, but hopefully I can edit this and make it close. All right, remember this is Age Cropped Hall, where TutorCon is going to be September 20th to 22nd, Richmond, Virginia. Englingcast.com/tutorcon to learn more. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, if you've made it to the end of this video, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button, and I hope I earned your subscription to my channel where I put out videos like this on the regular. Thanks so much for watching. You are deeply loved. I'm so glad I shared the planet with you. And I will be back again very soon. Bye-bye.